Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Julie Hutton, a success coach and master teacher who has spent nearly 4 decades helping people transform the way they see themselves and their lives. Julie's work centers around one powerful belief that true self love changes everything, not ego or arrogance, but a deep, genuine understanding of your own worth, beauty, and inner brilliance. Through our coaching and private retreats, she helps people break free from limiting belief and reconnect with who they truly are. Julie, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much, Sekani. Delightful to be here with you.
All right. So, yes, Julie, I want you to take us back to your early years, right? So, what was your childhood like, and what kind of environment shaped you growing up?
Oh, interesting. Wow. Well, I go back several years, several decades. So I was born post-war, World War II. And I was the eldest of five children in my family.
Wow.
Let's see, I would say an initial crisis at 14 actually forged the rest of my life. A crisis at 14 forged the rest of my life.
Wow.
So shall
Okay.
I tell you about it?
Yes, I'm actually waiting for more.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
waiting. Well, it's not an uncommon crisis, but when it hits, it makes a huge difference in a person's life. And my crisis was realizing that I was pregnant at 14
Wow.
and my family, trying to do the best for me, sent me to a home for unwed mothers so that I could have this child in seclusion and privacy, and I could come back to my life and go back to high school, go to high school. So they were actually attempting to do the right thing for me. But throughout the kind of my discovery there in that home, unwed mother's home, I came to the realization that I would be looking for this child in every young person's eyes. So that I could not give this baby away. And so against my family's desires, their desires for my best interest, I chose to keep the baby and to get married. So yeah, so that started my life. Um, and so by the time I had the child, I was 15. I was sitting one day feeding this baby, holding this approximately 6-week old baby in my arms, looking down at it, and basically saying in my head, like, what have I done? What have I done? Not that the baby was bad, but choice, the choice. I was basically a ninth grade dropout. And I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, how am I going to make my way in the world? I don't have an education. I don't have a path. And that set me on a quest for education. And that that actually became a very, very, very good thing. I'm still multiple decades later on a quest for learning, constant learning. I love to learn.
Wow.
Yes. So bottom line, it turned out to be a really good thing, but it also leads to one of the things that I try and instill in everyone I encounter, and that is self-directed learning. Learn. I'm passionate and I love learning when I'm learning things that um, I care about, learning things that inspire me, learning things that make me a better person. Yeah, so self-directed learning and choosing your learning environments. I think this is really important, and particularly for someone like me who was pregnant so early and, a ninth grade dropout, my self-esteem was already trampled on. And what I discovered in searching out learning environments is some environments damaged my self-esteem. Some learning environments were neutral, and some learning environments actually lifted my self-esteem. Um, I wish we were taught that all, that we were taught how to find the best learning modalities for ourselves and taught to fiercely, strong word, fiercely advocate for our best learning environments.
Right. Wow. Julie, I would say, first of all, thank you for sharing your beautiful story with us. I think it's a beautiful one, actually, because, you know, people go through, I mean, there are people who have gone through what you went through, right? And they believe that it's the end of their life, right? And
Right.
I love, yes, I love that you shared your story because it just shows it's not the end. If anything, it's the beginning to a new beginning, right? So, um, I wish this would get to the right listeners, probably those who feel like they've made decisions that probably that has altered their life, right? This will be very important to them to know that you could still decide from wherever it is you are, whatever decisions you've made, it doesn't define you, right? You could still take full control of your life like you did, Julie. And I love that you mentioned learning, right? Because, learning, they say, is a lifelong process. Learning doesn't stop when you're young. It doesn't stop when you're in your mid years, neither if you're above your mid years, right? It's a lifelong learning. It's you learn continuously to the end of life, basically. So yes, learning is a lifelong thing, and I love that you mentioned learning because I believe everyone deserves to, learn, right? Basically. So thank you, Julie, once again for sharing your story with us today. I really do appreciate that. So,
Thank you. Yeah. It did feel like the end of life. It
hmm,
it was a
right.
scare, 14. And
Mm,
and I was a very naive 14-year
hmm,
old, growing up in a
right.
rural area and, you know, many decades earlier, way before the internet, where you could learn so much. But
Right.
yeah, so I've had a couple of, I would call them even near-death experiences because
Hmm,
the pain was so great that you really question, whether you can go on.
hmm.
And yeah,
Wow.
so thank
That's
you.
good.
Yes, it's a big deal. It's a big deal when
Mhm,
you're a young person without the maturity, without the learned wisdom, but
hmm.
going through these experiences is where you gain the learned wisdom, right?
Exactly. Right. Right. Exactly. So yes, Julie, once again, thank you. And I was just, I'm trying to imagine because this reminded me of a story, not a story, a true life experience, where my cousin, when we were much more younger, she also got pregnant at the age of 15. Hers is a bit different from yours because this time around society was involved. I mean, and when the society knows what's going on, the emotional trauma that comes with it, the physical trauma, people tend to put you down, saying, I mean, from here in Nigeria where I live, they automatically believe your life has ended, right? This
Mm,
was, I think, um, 10 years ago or so when she got pregnant. And the funny thing now is we are besties now. She's all grown, the baby is grown. Everybody has forgotten about it, literally. We've forgotten there
right.
was a time like that, and she was able to, refocus, even though she was really young then. She didn't really know what to do. But things like this, like you said, are part of the lived experiences, right? You get to experience this thing and then learn from it. So yes, thank you, Judy. All right.
Right.
Right. I'm proud of her, by the way. The same way I'm also proud
Yes,
of you.
absolutely. Be proud
Right.
of her.
I'm
I'm
so
proud of
proud of her.
I'm proud of that 15-year-old who made that decision.
Exactly.
Yeah, that knew what was right for her. Yes, it is.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Honestly,
that's a really good point. What's right for you isn't necessarily right for
to
your
society.
family,
Right.
yeah, or your friends or
Mm,
your colleagues. What's right for you is right for you. And I'm a strong
exactly.
believer in that you need to go your own way. You need to go your own way.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So, like I said, I'm proud of her. And in decision making, you need to, prioritize yourself first, not what
Yep.
other people think. Whatever is best for you is what you should go for. And the same way um I would say I'm proud of you too. Although I'm younger, so I cannot say I'm proud of you. I would say I look up to the decisions you made. I think you're a hero actually. So yes, thank you,
Oh,
Julie.
thank you. That's so sweet of
um,
you.
okay, so yes, I want us to dive into what you're doing now, basically. So, you often talk about true self-love, right? What does that actually mean to you?
Well, it does mean like like going back to all the aspects of your life and loving those, not all my decisions in life were as good as making the choice to keep the baby and get married and then embark on lifelong learning. Uh, Not all of my choices were that heroic or wonderful. So true self-love means you love you love yourself even in the choices that were not in your highest good or the other party's highest good. That's true self-love. Yeah. And I know self-love is bantered around a lot these days. And that's why I added the true self-love. It's like you really, and I can say I really love a lot of aspects of me and how I've lived my life. And I
Mhm.
still have these little niggling regrets. And so I'm still working on true self-love. I think it's something that if you're long in this world, probably until you become an angel, you're working on true self-love. And
Mhm.
there's always something new that you discover that you want to forgive, you want to
Mhm.
release, you want to just say to yourself, I didn't I didn't know better at that time, and now I do. And yeah, and I let that go and move on with my life.
Mm,
Yes, so that's my belief in true self-love. When you really love yourself, you let yourself go, you let the bad memories go, you let the uh bad choices that you made in the past go. You move on. You move
mm,
on and you're dedicated to living a good life and living a
mm,
happy life and living a life that benefits others, which I have a feeling that you're doing with your
mm,
podcasting. Yes, that you're
mm,
um, wanting to give younger people a heads up, which is
mm.
awesome.
Oh, wow. All right. Thank you, Judy. Thank you for your kind words, actually. So, you were talking about true self-love and decision making, right? I spoke with a guest one time. Her name is Rochelle Conley, right? I wouldn't forget her name. So she made some, decisions in her past life that weren't too good. But then she mentioned self-love, the way you are mentioning self-love right now. And she said that everyone is doing life for the first time. Nobody has, there's no manual to life. There's no, rule book to life, and nobody has lived life and come back again to do it all over again, right? We are all doing it for the first time. So, mistakes are part of life, right?
Yes.
Yes, these mistakes are what makes us who we are, right? So we shouldn't judge ourselves of the mistakes we've made in the past, and like you said, we should love ourselves, forgive yourself. Very important. You need to forgive yourself. And also, you mentioned practicing self-love, right? Because there are some people out there, they want to forgive themselves and they want to love themselves, but they don't know how to go about it, right? So, what do you think are the practical ways someone can start, practicing self-love, and creating a better, healthier relationships with themselves?
Oh, that is such a good question, and it's really
Mm,
quite an expansive question. There's so many ways that you can do do that. And I'm a hmm, I'm a firm believer in changing limiting beliefs.
mm,
And one of the core limiting beliefs is that I often see is I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. And I even experienced that. I was besides being a success coach, I've been a real estate sales professional until I retired from that last year. So for was 21 years, I was a real estate sales professional. And if I lost a sale or lost a client, I would often think, oh, I should have been, I should have been better than I was. And that's just another way of saying I'm not good enough
mm,
exactly as I am right now.
mm,
And it's about, um, you feed that belief, you feed that by giving it proof. And I did that when I would lose a sale, I would feel bad. I would feel guilty about myself. And so one of the things is there's a technique that I learned after experiencing another crisis in my life. It was called the the Byron Katie, the work process. And part of that process is you start questioning the validity of the belief. So you question, I'm not good enough. Is that true? Um, are you really sure that that's true, that you're not good enough? What that just asking that one question or even pursuing that line of inquiry, what that does is it creates doubt in the mind. And what I would say about that is creating doubt in the mind is a common negotiation technique. And it's actually one I used when I was representing selling, uh, um, a selling client. And there would be an inspection process that the buyer would go through. They'd hire an inspector, and then they would have concerns about, say, the roofing or any other aspect of the house. And then the buyer's agent would call me and indicate that, that the buyer was probably going to ask for a $20,000 credit or more for roofing. And I could easily instill doubt just with that buyer's agent by just calmly saying, "Well, I'm not sure that the seller would be willing to do that. Um, they would probably just let the house go back on the market and find a different buyer." And just by instilling that one little simple statement, made even in a calm way, so that calm statement goes right in and it instills doubt. So you can use that exact methodology on yourself. You can use that on your limiting beliefs. And then, of course, you want to follow through and flip that belief to I am enough, or even soften it a little bit with I am enough for right now. I am enough for right now. And then using visualization techniques to imagine yourself being enough and people being happy and satisfied with what you're providing and feeling good about yourself. That's self-love. Doing things like that is a demonstration. And regrettably, or not regrettably, I don't know, we need demonstration. We need
Exactly.
lived experiences
Mm,
of feeling good. And so then saying, I'm good enough to learn more skill in this area. I'm good enough. I'm good enough right now. That's very self-loving.
mm,
Because I know even all these decades later, decades of intense learning and studying and lived experiences, I know I'm still learning. There's a lot
mm,
more to learn. Yeah, there's no perfection in this life,
mm,
although that although wanting to be perfect was a trap, was a negative thing that came out of being a ninth grade dropout because I was
mm,
always fearing being, caught as not enough, not good enough, with only
mm,
a ninth grade official education. The
mm.
education you get these days that you can get for free on the internet doesn't come with a diploma. Have you
Right.
noticed?
Right. True, actually. Wow. Hmm. Okay, Judy. So yes, thank you. And you said freeing yourself of limiting belief, right? So
Right.
and then you mentioned to most importantly question the validity of your belief, right? If you feel less of yourself, question that belief. Am I truly a lesser version of myself? Am I doing the wrong thing? Whatever belief you have
Hmm.
concerning yourself, question that belief, right? And you find out that most of the times it's not true, right? You worth more than, over here we say you're worth more than gold and silver, silver. Right.
Right.
So, right. So thank you, Julie. And Yes, I want us to, touch on the future, basically. So, after nearly 40 years of coaching, what continues to inspire you about this work?
Wow, that's a good
Mm.
question. I love it. I love it. I know I'm good at it.
Right.
Um, yeah, and I don't do so much one-on-one, say weekly or bi-weekly coaching anymore. I've zeroed in on doing what I call 3-day private retreats.
Mm.
And I do those because I know that they can completely turn someone's life around. Because it's one-on-one, because it's custom designed for them, because it's very when you're coaching one-on-one, like once a week, you can often get to some really core, say core limiting beliefs, and then the hour's up. And then it's wait until the next week, and often kind of a new subject will be brought in by the client. So you don't ever finish the original one. But when we're in a 3-day private retreat and it goes from 10 to 4 for 3 solid days. So you could do the 1 hour, you're pulling on this one thread, say it's whatever it is, we'll call it a limiting belief, and the hour's up, but the day's not up. So then you have another hour. You've gone from 10 to 11, then you get to go from 11 to 12, and then 12 to 1, and we do eat in between, and 1 to 2, and 2 to 3, and 3 to 4, and then there's homework for them, and I leave them, and then we start the next day, and it's the exact same thing. So we stay on it, we stay on it, we stay on it. And in and even though that can feel pretty intense, it's still gentle. And what happens is hour after hour, a huge high level of trust is built. They trust me, I trust them. And we just move through a lot of things that they wouldn't ordinarily be able to in what I would call, traditional once a week coaching. And so it's very satisfying. I learned to do that, many years ago. The first 18 years of my coaching business, I was designing group retreats that we had every quarter. So we'd have four retreats a month for 18 years. So I'm highly experienced at it, and I know how to very gently and gracefully pull threads that are what? Very tender. Let's put it that way. Very tender, potentially scary threads. But because of the trust and my own intuition, I know when to pull and when to just let it ride for a little longer. When to pull a little more, when to let it ride for a little longer, and then when to pull and it pulls out. And so it's very it's very satisfying. I guess that's the best way to say it. It's very personally satisfying. Yeah.
Mm. Wow, personally satisfying. Okay, Judy. So basically, you are a pro at what you do.
I'm self-centered. I do it because I love it and it works.
Yeah,
And it makes me
exactly.
happy with the satisfaction. Yes. Did you
Wow,
know, did
exactly.
you know
Mm.
one of the most satisfying careers I read
Mm.
this somewhere, I can't even remember where, but one of the most satisfying careers in the world is like construction or like painting, and it's because it's
Mm.
very visible. You paint a
Right.
wall and you see it, and you know, you do that even in your own home. You pull all the furniture out, you know, you put all the painting equipment in and the taping and whatnot, and then you paint, and then you take all that taping off and you pull all the plastic out and you put the furniture back in. It's like gorgeous. So it's
Mm.
very satisfying, and yeah, who doesn't want a satisfying career, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Right. Right. Actually. And they say the happiest people are those who do what they love. Right.
Yes, yes.
Exactly.
So I'm doing what I love. There you go.
Exactly. Wow. So yes, thank you, Judy. I think this has been an amazing conversation because it's totally relatable and it stems from real life experiences. So thank you once again, Judy, for such an
You're,
amazing one.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're welcome.
it brings me it brings me to the final segment of my podcast. I call it the rapid fire segment. So you could either answer with a word or a phrase starting now. So, what is one habit that helps people reconnect with themselves?
Journaling,
Hmm,
journaling,
okay.
journaling.
All
Yeah, journaling, writing, silence, quiet, quiet time, writing, reflection. I think I think the Asians um, have a good feel on that.
right.
Often instead of punishment, they would say, you need to go reflect on yourself. I never
Okay.
took it as personally as punishment. I took it as a chance to clear my mind and find out what I wanted to do about, you know, situations. So I would write about the situation. I would write about what I wanted. Yeah. Journaling, one word.
Mhm. All right, journaling, right, very important. And yes, so what is a book, quote or principle you live by?
You, you, Sadaki, are the gift the world is waiting for.
Hmm.
You are the gift the world is waiting
All
for.
right. You are the gifts the world is waiting for.
Yep.
Wow, that sounds very refreshing. All right. And finally, what does success mean to you now?
Peace, love, and joy.
Hmm.
Peace, love, and
Okay.
joy. Peace, love, and joy. And I know that sounds kind of corny, but a long time ago, oh God, I can't remember the guy's name, but it was one of his 7 habits of highly successful people. One of the habits is start with the end in mind. And I love that.
Hmm.
So it was kind of like, how do I want my life to end? Where do I want to be in consciousness at the end of my life? And I want inner peace. I want love. And I want joy. And it sounds like a Christmas carol, peace, love, and joy. But that's what I want.
Right. And I think those are really important, actually. I mean, it's not just important. I think everybody should want that too, right? Peace, just
Right,
live a peaceful life, a
right,
joyful life, right? And
right,
nothing compares to that, honestly.
right, right. It's so
Honestly.
powerful, and it's doable. You know, it's powerful and it's doable and it's freeing. It provides all the other things that you think you want.
Hmm. Peace, love, and joy. Oh,
Hmm.
all right, Julie. Yes, thank you. This has been such a grounding and meaningful conversation. I appreciate your vulnerability, your wisdom, your compassion, and sharing with us what it means to truly love ourselves. So, yes, once again, thank you, Julie. And before you go, where can listeners get to, learn more about you and also connect with you?
Sure, it's pretty easy. It's juliehuttoncoaching.com, juliehuttoncoaching.com, and I give away one free scholarship to my 3-day private intensive every month, one free scholarship, and it's worth about $4,000. And I do that because I want to support, champion, and encourage those people with a strong desire to be a force for good and to positively impact their world. So if you know anyone, please refer them. They would need to make uh, ex travel expenses to Northern California. But other
Mm.
than that, my services are completely free.
Great. Right. Wow. That sounds huge. I mean, thank you for what you're doing. I think you're doing amazing. I wish I could refer myself.
Right, right. Just come on, just fly on over here. You can do it.
I know I can't do it. Right. Right. So I believe that if something is mine, it won't pass me by. So
Exactly, exactly. And
right.
that offer is good for you. Yes.
Actually, it is. Thank you, Judy. And yes, finally. Okay, you've mentioned where listeners can get to connect with you and learn more about you, of which I'll put the link in the show notes so that it's
Okay.
easily accessible for listeners. Right. So yes, thank you. And to my listeners, I would say thanks for tuning into Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone who you think might need this, and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. Once again, thank you, Julie. This has been such a lovely conversation, and do have a beautiful day ahead of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, take care, Julie. I'm gonna
Thank
reach
you.
out after this.
Okay.
All right, okay. Yeah.